what we wanted to talk about today is the FAFSA, federal aid, and what you need to know. So there are going to be a lot of things that seem confusing about federal aid, right? I think a lot of times when people hear the word federal, they're like, ooh, no, we're not stressing about the word federal or what the FAFSA is. So we're just going to take some time this afternoon to talk about what the actual FAFSA stands for, what it does, the information you need to fill it out, and then resources that we have, okay? First thing is FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, okay? Free, one, you should never pay for it. It's the free application for federal student aid. Another thing I want you to know about the FAFSA is that the FAFSA itself does not give you money. A lot of times I'll hear, well, I need my FAFSA money. FAFSA doesn't give you money. The FAFSA is just an application. It's just a glimpse, okay? And so what the application looks at is specifically, it looks at a lot of things, but specifically your household size, household income, and then how many people are in college, okay? So everyone's situation is different, right? So if you're thinking, well, I don't live with my parents, students that are thinking about filling out the FAFSA, I'm a senior, but I don't live with my parents. Guess what? That's okay. There's always a way to fill out the FAFSA. If you have a question, and I'm going to say this multiple times as we talk about federal aid and the FAFSA, about a personal situation that's specific to you and you don't feel comfortable writing it in the comments, all you have to do is send us an email. I can post my email, go to Get to College, our chat, Instagram, DM us, Facebook message us. We are happy to help you fill out those specific personal situations that might not be the same for everyone, okay? So let's go back to the FAFSA, this free application for federal student aid. It's an application that looks at multiple things, but specifically the household size, household income, and how many people are in college. And it determines your eligibility for grants, work study, and or loans, okay? Grant, every time you hear the word grant, you've been seeing us do live videos about it. Grant means free money. We love free money. Anytime you can get free money, you want to do it. So the FAFSA determines your eligibility for a federal grant called the Pell Grant, P-E-L-L. Pell Grant. So you fill out your FAFSA, your student sends it to up to 10 colleges that they're interested in. All right, they can send it to up to 10 schools. From that point on, the university, community college, school that they're attending says, based off of the results of your FAFSA, you are eligible for the following. And that's when they give you your financial aid package, okay? Based off of your FAFSA application. That Pell Grant, just so you guys know, the maximum amount that you can receive is $6,345 for this coming year. Now let me tell you this. Just in case you didn't know, in Mississippi, we have 15 community colleges located all across the state. Okay, those 15 community college, an average price of their tuition ranges from about $3,000 to $4,000. So if you as a student or parents, if your student wants to go to community college and live at home, what you can do is fill out that FAFSA application. If you are eligible for the Pell Grant, that would pay for your tuition at community college plus some, okay? So it's really important that you never think, oh, well, I can't fill out the FAFSA or I can't do it, because it is so important that you do it, and it determines if you're eligible for that Pell Grant, which, like I mentioned, could cover tuition at community college or could cover a large chunk of tuition at one of our 8 public universities or our 7 private schools in the state. Okay, so one thing the FAFSA looks at, it determines your eligibility for the Pell Grant. The next thing is student loans. Listen, loans are a scary thing and people don't like to talk about them, but I like to bear reality and say loans aren't the worst thing if we can stay away from them. Obviously, we want you and your students to stay away from loans, but we do want you to know that all students are eligible for federal student loans with an interest rate of 2.75% for their student loans, and then an interest rate for 5.3% for parents if you do a Parent Plus loan. All of this information is accessed once you do your FAFSA. So for all of us that work to get to college, we woke up this morning like, tomorrow's the day. We're so excited to do that. So just know those are the 3 things that you can see if you're eligible for. The FAFSA is a gatekeeper, okay? If your student's looking to go to college, it's important that they fill out the FAFSA because it gives the school an idea of your financial situation so that they can award aid. Sometimes that's need-based institutional aid from the college itself in addition to scholarships, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is what all you need to do the FAFSA. There's a lot of confusion a lot of times because you have to have tax information, okay? The tax information that is used to fill out the FAFSA application that opens tomorrow is 2019 taxes. Your 2019 taxes, okay? So students, if you know that you're about to do your FAFSA with your parents, you need to ask them, hey, don't forget, get your 2019 tax paperwork, okay? Because you'll need that. You will not do it off 2020 taxes. We're not waiting until we file those taxes. It goes off of your 2019 taxes. A lot of questions we get are about late filers, or maybe you don't file taxes at all. There is never a reason that we don't need to try to fill out the FAFSA. If you have specific questions like I mentioned earlier, just call us, call our office, DM us, any type of contact you can do, and we'll let you know how to fill out the FAFSA and what information you need. Also, students, it is time to learn your Social Security number. If you have not memorized it already, it needs to be in your head. It doesn't need to be on your phone, and it doesn't need to be in your wallet. Because when you do the FAFSA, you have to create a username and password, and it is connected with your specific Social Security number. You need a good email address. You need to know all of your Social Security number, date of birth. You need those 2019 taxes, have a good email address, mailing address, all of those things that aren't too difficult for you. One, you already know, but to look up if you don't know. So that's the information you need when filling out the FAFSA. Parents, if you have questions about your tax information or you have specific questions about assets that are listed on the FAFSA, I'm obviously not going to get in the weeds of those on Facebook Live. We at Get to College host 4 or 5 hour trainings on FAFSA. It is just such intensive application. So now I want to tell you how the resources that we have, because it's such an important application and can get a little complicated. We have made it possible for your students to have as much help as possible when it comes to the FAFSA application. One, we are doing virtual FAFSA appointments with your students. You can schedule, if you're from North Mississippi, with our North Mississippi office. You can schedule here in Jackson at our Jackson office, and then on the coast. And when I say schedule here, I mean virtual. All of our FAFSA appointments are going to be virtual. So schedule a virtual appointment. We'll share our screen. We'll walk through the FAFSA with you and help you get that completed. So that's a huge resource. You do not have to do this by yourself. You can schedule an appointment with us and we can walk through it with you one-on-one and make sure, and then explain the results. Explain the confirmation page. Make sure that you're not just, well, I think I did it right. No, let us help you. Also, if you want to receive help from my current students that are already in college, go to your financial aid office. There are ways that they want to help you fill out your FAFSA for students who are already in school. You do have to fill this application out every single year. So my freshmen, don't think you're off the hook because you've already done it. No, you have to do it again for the next year, and the earlier the better, okay? The last resource I want you to know of is FAFSA days at your high school. If your student is a senior in high school, then they could be having a FAFSA day at your high school. What that looks like is they may have Get to College people coming in virtually. They may have the local community college coming in to help. But either way, it's the same help. It's people who've been trained on the FAFSA and know how to fill it out. So if you get a Remind 101 text or a parent email that says there's a FAFSA day, that needs to spark something in your mind that says that's important. I need to sign up for that. Because having help on this application is going to be really important. Actually, the last thing I want you to tell you about is on our Get to College YouTube page, there are resources on walking you through the FAFSA. So if you feel uncomfortable with help and want to do it on your own, you can go to our YouTube page and walk through. Also, the FAFSA will help you. There's little question marks. If you have a question, most of it is pretty self-explanatory. But all of that to say, I could talk about the FAFSA all day if we're being honest. All of that to say, we want to be a resource for you. We never want money to be left on the table because the FAFSA application didn't get filled out. That's $6,345 of free money that's eligible. So if you have questions about the FAFSA and you want to make an appointment, all you have to do is contact us and we will help you and be a part of that. If you have specific questions, I see some comments on this video. If you have specific questions, reach out to your university, DM Get to College, and we'd be happy to help. Don't be intimidated by the FAFSA. We at Get to College here are so excited that it's coming up, and we can't wait to help you and your students figure out, navigate how to do it. So you guys have a great evening, and we look forward to scheduling appointments with you virtually for the FAFSA. We look forward to talking with you more about financial aid and if you have specific questions.